Imagine leaving your gorgeous young wife alone with your teenage son, only for them to cross the ultimate forbidden line the second you walk out the door. Every breathless encounter, every stolen moment meticulously documented in a hidden journal that is destined to destroy their family. Today we are diving into the twisted, taboo romance of the 2014 thriller, Sub Rosa. Let's see how this dark secret unfolds. The story begins with Ernesto aggressively waking his teenage son, Elian. As a rigid military man, Ernesto's ultimate goal is to mold Elian into a soldier just like him. He dictates every single aspect of his son's life with an iron fist. But Elian secretly despises this control and absolutely dreads the idea of following in his father's footsteps. We soon meet Edna, Elian's stepmother, busy preparing food in the kitchen. Once they sit down to eat, Ernesto commands Elian to recite a military creed he forced him to memorize. Elian obeys, standing at attention like a private addressing a superior officer. Feeling pity for the young boy, Edna watches uncomfortably. When Elian stumbles slightly over his words, Ernesto erupts in anger. Edna quickly tries to calm her husband down and asks him to give the boy a little breathing room. In the heat of the moment, Elian forgets to express his gratitude to Edna for stepping in, prompting Ernesto to viciously strike him on the legs as a brutal reminder of his manners. Before shipping out for his army deployment, Ernesto lays down the law. He orders Elian to maintain the household while he is gone and insists that the boy start referring to Edna as his mother. This triggers Elian, who snaps back that she will never be his real mom. Furious, Ernesto slams his son against the wall. Elian fires back, claiming Ernesto would never dare treat him this way if his biological mother were still around. Unfazed, Ernesto tells him to bury the past and use his head, claiming that is how real soldiers survive. Later, Edna privately begs Ernesto to ease up, arguing Elian is too young for such a heavy burden. Ernesto completely shuts her down, insisting the boy needs to be forced into manhood, and orders that if anything breaks during his absence, Elian must repair it himself without outside help. The very next morning, Edna tries to drive to the grocery store, but her engine is dead. Remembering her husband's strict orders, she goes to Elian's room to ask for assistance. She enters without knocking and accidentally catches him completely undressed. Flustered, she apologizes, but Elian plays it cool, telling her to let him know what she needs. Hearing about the car, he heads straight to the garage to inspect the engine. While working under the hood, he smacks his head. Edna hurries over to make sure he is okay, using the moment to apologize again for walking in on him earlier. Elian brushes it off, but when Edna awkwardly jokes that it's nothing a mother and son shouldn't be used to, Elian sharply reminds her that she isn't his mother. Not long after, Ernesto calls to check on things. Hearing about the broken vehicle, he demands Edna hand the phone to Elian. Ernesto immediately starts screaming through the receiver, berating his son and commanding him to fix the engine because a true soldier can handle anything. Overwhelmed and furious, Elian shoves the phone back to his stepmother. By the next day, Elian is ready to throw in the towel and call a professional mechanic. Knowing how enraged Ernesto will be, Edna decides to manipulate the situation to boost Elian's confidence. She fakes a stumble and pretends to twist her ankle, forcing Elian to catch her. She heaps praise on him, calling him an extraordinary young man and thanking him for trying. Caught in the heat and proximity of the moment, Elian attempts to kiss her, but reality kicks in remembering she is his father's wife. He abruptly backs away. The lingering tension, however, is too much to ignore. That night, while Elian is watching television, Edna approaches him wearing a highly revealing nightgown, complaining that she cannot fall asleep. She actively seduces him, and the two cross a forbidden boundary, sparking a highly secretive and taboo affair. The following morning, Elian enters the kitchen and announces he finally figured out the engine trouble. Edna cautiously asks if their intimate night was a mistake, but Elian promises to keep it entirely between them. As the days roll by, their forbidden connection intensifies. Edna actually starts loving the fact that her husband is away, diving headfirst into the romance. She even takes down Ernesto's framed photo from their bedroom whenever she and Elian are together. Meanwhile, Elian becomes obsessed, keeping a hidden journal where he tracks the exact dates and times of every single encounter with his stepmother. Eventually, Elian gets the car running flawlessly, earning a passionate kiss from Edna as a reward. The next day, he excitedly buys her a bouquet of flowers, only to walk into a nightmare. Ernesto has returned from his deployment early. Panicking, Elian manages to corner Edna in the garage later on to figure out a plan. But Edna's demeanor has completely flipped. She coldly orders him to stay far away from her before Ernesto figures them out. Feeling betrayed and rejected, Elian loses control and aggressively tries to force himself onto her. Edna fights back, slapping him hard across the face. Right at that second, Ernesto walks into the garage, spotting the blood on Elian's face. Thinking quickly, Edna lies, claiming Elian just clumsily hit his head on the wall. Disgusted by his son's apparent weakness, Ernesto orders Elian to pack his bags for a hunting trip, stating he will never be a real man acting like a fool. Deep in the woods the next day, the atmosphere is suffocating. Walking behind his father, Elian tightly grips his hunting knife, heavily considering ending Ernesto's life right then and there. But suddenly, Ernesto breaks the silence. He opens up, confessing that his brutal parenting is entirely out of love. He explains that he pushes Elian into the military lifestyle because he desperately wants him to be a strong, self-reliant, and responsible man. Pierced by his father's unexpected vulnerability, Elian is overwhelmed with guilt, releases his grip on the knife, and abandons his lethal plan. But that guilt morphs into pure chaos during dinner that night. Out of nowhere, Elian grabs his father's own gun and aims it squarely at Ernesto's chest. He unloads a massive confession. He has been sleeping with Edna every single day of the deployment, proudly revealing that he has a journal documenting every specific time and date. Staring his father down, Elian delivers the final blow. "You wanted me to be a responsible, grown man. So, I learned how to be a man with your wife because that's what soldiers do." Instead of a violent outburst, Ernesto's reaction is absolutely terrifying. He begins to chuckle. Looking directly at his son, Ernesto declares that he is incredibly proud. He calmly explains that stepping over the line and claiming Edna is exactly what unleashed the ruthless, dominant man hidden inside Elian, and that was his ultimate goal all along. Showing a chilling, psychotic level of calm, Ernesto sits back down at the dinner table as if it were just a normal evening, coldly commanding his traumatized wife and son to take their seats and finish their meal.